Friends, buddies, pals, how you doing? Welcome back to another video. So it's a Friday filler. Trying to keep on top of these Friday fillers at the moment, just to try and keep the content rolling while I've still got some time without lockdown and that kind of stuff. Just trying to keep some information going out there to you guys. So this week I'm going to tell you all about this, the single spey setup I've been using pretty much all winter. The swing is the thing, the tug is the drug, the nudge is the fudge, the hit is the mitt, the pull is the wool. Nah, I don't know, I'm talking nonsense now. Whatever I say, believe this, single spey is such a cool way of fishing. It's so much fun. It's basically what I've been doing all winter. It's all been about swinging streamers with a single spey setup. And I've had a lot of you asking me exactly kind of like what it is that I'm using and what the setup is and how you go about doing it. Do I use different gear to what I normally use? And even though I've kind of gone over it in some of my other videos, I thought I'd do a specific video this time and tell you exactly in detail what my setup is. Let's start with the rod. This is Frank. I've been using Frank pretty much the whole time for this kind of fishing. Now Frank, if you don't know, is my Helios 3 5-weight F. So it's a softer action rod, but it's a 5-weight. And it's not a spey fishing 5-weight, it is just my regular 5-weight rod that I use all year for all kinds of fishing. So the cool thing about single spey is you don't have to buy a special rod and a special reel to get yourself going. Whatever 5-weight rod you've got or 6-weight rod you've got is perfect. So don't think you have to go out and buy another one, because you don't. Just use what you've got. So I've got the Mirage LT on this. It's the same reel I use all year with this rod, with this setup, and it works perfectly. So the line I've been using for the last couple of years for this rod with my 5-weight setup is the Scientific Angler's integrated Skagit line, and I use the intermediate sink. The cool thing about this is it is just basically another fly line. You just take your regular fly line off, you loop to loop this one to your backing, wind it on, and you're good to go. I've used the floating one and I've used the intermediate one, and I find that intermediate sink tip just helps get your flies down and keep them down a little bit deeper, which is what you want, especially this time of year when those fish are on the bottom. That's where you want your flies, all right? So I would recommend you go out and get the intermediate sink one. It's pretty confusing when you first start, because things don't go 5-weight, 6-weight, 7-weight, 8-weight lines. What they do is they go in weights or grains. So 210 grain, 240 grain, 270 grain, blah, 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 blah. Now what I've found is for the 5-weight rod that I use, a 210 grain line works perfectly. If you've got a 6-weight rod and you're going to be using a 6-weight rod, I would probably recommend you go for a 240 grain line, but everything else would be the same, but in a 240 grain instead of a 210. Just that little bit more weight to load that rod nicely. And if you're using anything above that, like a 7-weight, 8-weight, you're probably looking at 270 grain and up into that kind of area. But we're talking smaller streams, smaller rivers, medium-sized stuff. Single hand rod, 5-weight, 6-weight, 210 or 240 is going to be what you want to get. All I do now is I loop to the end of my fly line a sonar sink tip. You want the 8-foot long ones. They weigh 80 grams. And they go perfectly with this setup. They go really well with that 9-foot rod and your single spey setup. Now what I would recommend is you would just buy a pack. You can buy a pack of the sonar sink tips, and it gives you a range of different sink rates. Everything from like a floating one to an intermediate one, 3-inch, 5-inch, 7-inch per second sink rate. And I tend to find I usually just stick with the 7-inch per second sink rate and get everything down as much as I can, especially in winter when there's a bit more water around. You tend to find you're going to need that weight. But it is good to have those range of different kind of options. So all I do, I just have them all sitting in this little wallet, keep them in my bag, and if I want to and I need to, I can just grab this, swap out the sink tip for something a bit lighter or a bit heavier, and I can adapt to the situations. Now to the end of that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some 10 pound, 12 pounds, somewhere around there, 1X, 2X fluorocarbon, and I'm just going to make myself a straight through leader, real simple, real short. So all I'm going to do is put a perfection loop in that, so I can just loop to loop it. If you're not sure how to do a perfection loop, I'm going to link that up here for you right now. You can go up there and you can check out how to do a perfection loop. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go for about an arm's length, so about 4 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, and that'll be perfect. You don't have to worry about going too long with the leader length. It's quite simple. So then I'm going to take the loop of my sonar leader. This is the 7-inch per second one, and then all I'm going to do, hopefully you can see this, is I'm just going to real simply loop to loop that like so. I mean, that couldn't be any simpler. And then on the end of that, I'm going to tie my fly, whatever it is I want to use, my woolly bugger, my articulated streamer, my tube fly, whatever, tie that onto there with a lefties loop. And again, if you don't know how to do a lefties loop, I'll link that up in the top left hand corner for you now, and you're pretty much good to go. I'm going to try and round out this video by catching a fish with the setup I've just shown you, and that will just show you exactly what I use, how I use it, and hopefully that it works. Now, one of the cool things about this fly line here is there's a textured section between the black tip sinking section or floating section and the white running line. There's a grey section of textured line. Now you pull that into the rod tip. Every time you pull that into the rod tip, you know you're in the exact right place and you've got enough head outside of the rod tip to load the rod perfectly and cast. So there's no guesswork involved. So you just pull that in, and you can hear it and feel it, and then you just know you're in the right place to do your snap sea, set yourself up and cast every time. You can do it in the dark. And then really when you cast, you're just trying to land everything in like as straight a line as you can, so that fly starts fishing straight away. It doesn't swing across too much, too quick. You just want it to kind of just come across nice and slow. Nice and natural, not too fast. Really just work it across the current. Ooh. There's a fish, nice. Sick. Oh, where you going? Come back, come back. Ooh. Nah, come on man, come up this way. What I want to do is just nudge him into this little quiet bay here, because then I've actually got a chance of landing him. Oh, dude, no, just wrapped my knuckles well proper in it. Bring him up this quiet edge if I can. This way, doesn't want to come out of that current. Here we go. It's a decent fish too. Oof. Come on. Here we go, nice. That is a good fish. I wonder I'm having so much trouble with him. Yeah boy, it's a great fish. That's a cool fish to catch on the swing. Sorry about the light on here, that wasn't very good, but that's what I'm working with here. But that was a cool fish. That'll actually go down as one of the bigger fish I've caught this winter, especially like that. That's awesome. Job done, that's cool. It works. What a cool way to catch a fish like that. That never gets old, people. That never gets old. It's a cool way to fish. If you haven't done it and you want to try it, get into it, people. If you're in the States, you're coming into fall pretty soon, get yourself geared up. It's the perfect time to start chasing big fish like that. And if you're in New Zealand, there's still a couple months left to really get your head around it and catch some fish like that. It's very, very cool. Hope that was helpful. Give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment in the comment section below and all that good stuff. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.